everyone, my name is Warmup-1 and today we're going to talk about CodingBat Warmup-1 for Python. If you want to get my solution to this CodingBat and also an ebook on how to become a developer as fast as possible, click on the description below, okay? So now, let's start our problem. Here it's the Warmup-1 website in CodingBat, and here I already passed all the problems that we're going to do in the CSFT IDE, okay, in order to use the debugger. So let's start. The parameter weekday is true if it is a weekday, and the parameter vacation is true if we are on vacation. We sleep in if it's not a weekday or if we are on vacation. Return true if we sleep in. So here we have a problem. The question already uses a lot of if, so we can understand that we're going to use if and else condition in our code. So let's just check if else Python ~3 schools. It's always a good documentation to use ~3 schools because they always explain to us how to use, and they always give some examples, and it's really good. I always recommend to use this website when you don't know something of Python, okay? So here, Python conditions and if statements. So Python supports the usual logical conditions from mathematics. So if we want to set something as equal, not equal, less than or equal, greater than and equal. And these conditions can be used in several ways, most commonly in if statements and loops. But here we're thinking of if statement. So if we check here, let's see an example to see how this works. We give a variable with value 33 and a variable with value 200. This if condition here, it's saying what? If b is greater than a, so if this variable here, b, is greater than a, it's going to print this line here, b is greater than a. And how are we going to enter in this condition? It's pretty much straightforward. So if b is greater than a, it's going to print this. If this condition is not satisfied, nothing is going to be printed. So why here we have b is greater than a? Because 200 is greater than 33, right? But if we change here the variables, so if a here now it's 200 and b now it's 33, when we run, what we're going to have? Nothing. Why? Because here we just have this if statement here, just one condition. So if this condition is not satisfied, this thing here that it's inside the if, it's not going to appear. And that's what we're seeing here, okay? So that's the idea basically. We're going to use if and else, and what is inside an if and else will only be reached if the condition is true, okay? So let's start defining our function. We already have here in the CodingBat, okay, I just forgot to pass. So sleep in, weekday, and vacation. So we know that, So we know that the only condition that we're going to return true is if it's not a weekday or if we are on vacation, okay? So if it's not a weekday, what it is? Weekday will be set as false here, okay? Because if it's weekday here, it's going to be true, and if it's not here, it's going to be false. And vacation, if it's vacation, it's going to be true, and if it's not, it's going to be false. So if the only condition that returns true, it's if it's not a weekday or if we are on vacation, we're going to start the problem in this. So if weekday equals false, so it's not weekday, or vacation equals true, okay? So if we have this if we have our weekday equals false, our vacation equals true, or both of this, we're going to return true. And else, we're going to return false. When we use an or condition here, we're explaining that or this condition has to be satisfied, or this condition, or both of them, okay? And when we use an and here, we're saying that this condition has to be satisfied and also this condition here, okay? But it's not the case, we're using the or here. Now I'm going to print one example just for us to check, okay? So this first example here. And let's use the debug 50. So I'm going to put a breakpoint, debug 50, problem1.py. And let's check what happens. So we have here, passing as input into the function, it's false and false, right? So we're setting weekday as false and vacation as false, okay? Now we're going to do the first if condition. So if weekday equals false, weekday is false in our case, yes. So this condition is satisfied. We don't need to check the other condition because here we are using an OR operator. So we're going to return true, okay? If we change here for true, false, what this would be. Let's run again just to check what happens. So if we have here true, false, what are we're passing? So we're passing weekday equals true and vacation equals false. So here we're going to check the first condition. So if weekday equals false, but our weekday is true, so this condition is not satisfied. But let's check if the other condition is satisfied in order to enter in the return true. And here it's vacation equals true. But our vacation, it's false. So this whole condition here is not satisfied. And then we go to the else case, that it's the default. And here we're going to return false, okay? And one more test. So for example, true, true, just to understand the OR operator. So if we have here, we are passing as input to the function true. So weekday is true and vacation is true. Here we're going to check the if condition. So weekday is false. No, our weekday is true, right? But we can check the other condition. If the other condition is satisfied, we're going to enter on the line 14. So vacation equals true. In our case it is, so that's why we're going to return true. Okay? So that's the problem pretty much. We are manipulating if and else condition. Let's check here. I made one mistake with indentation. My computer have this problem. Yes, this is the problem. Let's see. All correct. Okay. So let's go to the next one. The problem is that when I pass my code in CS50 IDE and when I pass to CodingBat, it's this format what I had before, but it's okay. So let's go to the next problem. Make monkey trouble. So we have here, we have two monkeys, A and B. Let me just make this right, okay? So we have two monkeys, A and B, and the parameter A smile and B smile indicate if each is smiling. We are in trouble if they are both smiling or if neither of them is smiling. Return true if we are in trouble. So what is the problem here? The function is passing a parameter A smile and a B smile, representing if the monkey A is smiling or if the monkey B is smiling. And it's going to return true or false. If it's smiling, it's going to pass as true, and if it's not smiling, it's going to pass as false. The problem here is that we have to check if both of them are smiling or neither of them are not smiling. And this is a trouble. So what's trouble? We're going to return true if we are in trouble. What is trouble? When we're going to return true? We're going to return true if A smile is equals to B smile, okay? Independently of if they are both not smiling or if neither of them is smiling, okay? So that's the idea. We're going to return true if we are in trouble. So which cases we are in trouble? When both of them is smiling or neither of them is smiling, and we're going to return false, the else case, okay? So let's see. So let's pass here. It's deaf, monkey, trouble, and we're passing A, smile, and B, smile, right? So what's the problem here? We want to check if both of them is smiling or not. So what are we going to do? So if A smile equals to B smile, we're going to return true, okay? So if both of them are smiling or neither of them are smiling, so for example, if equal is true and if A smile is true and here is true, so here we're going to set as true, okay? Or if here it's false and it's equals to B smile false, so we're going to return true. And it's not a trouble if they have a different way of smiling, okay? So let's print the problems. I'm going to print these 3 examples here because I think it's better to understand what's happening. Print. I'm using print here just to do CS50 debugger, okay? You don't need to do this for your CodingBat. So let's put a breakpoint in here and let's do debug 50 problem 2. That is the monkey trouble. So let's check what happens. So here we in the first case we're passing true and true. So we're passing A smile equals true and B smile equals true. So what is going to happen? We're going to check if A equals B. So here we know that A is equals to B, right? Because both of them is true. So this condition will be satisfied and we're going to return true, right? Next case, we're passing false and false. So A smile has value false and B smile has value false. This condition here, we're checking if both of them are the same. Since A smile and B smile are false, we're going to enter in this condition, right? So we're returning true. And the next problem, we're passing A smile equals true and B smile equals false. Since they are not the same, this condition is not satisfied, and we go to the else condition that returns false. Okay? Let me paste this to here. Let me check the indentation to make that we have no doubts in here. And let's go. So all correct. Okay, we're on fire. Great job for us. Next problem, given 2 int values, return their sum. So unless the 2 values are the same, then return double their sum. So what's the problem here? We're going to receive 2 ints as input, right? And we have to return their sum. But we're just going to return their sum if these 2 values of int are different. If they are the same, we're going to return double their sum. So again, we're going to use an if and else condition, and we're going to do basically the same as we did to monkey trouble. So sum double, here I'm defining the function, and it's AB, okay? And what we're going to do, first we have to check if the values of AB are the same or not, right? And then we're going to return their sum or their double of their sum. So if A equals B, what we're going to return? We're going to return double their sum. So return, what's double? We're going to return twice their sum, right? So 2 multiplied by A plus B, and here we're going to return their sum, okay? And else, here, we're going to return their sum, just their sum. So this is the only condition we have. If they have the same value, return double their sum. If not, return their sum, okay? So let's print some examples here. So let me copy and paste. Just 1 second. Actually, I'm going to change by yes, copy here. I'm just making this to make things clear to understand. Okay, and here true. So let's check. I'm going to put a breakpoint in line 10, and we're gonna call debug 50 problem3.py. Let's check what's happening to our problem. So here, what we have, we're in the first case, we're passing 1 as a, okay, so variable a has value 1, and variable b has value 2. And here we're going to first check, so if a equals b, so we know that a is different than b, so we're going to the else condition, right? And we're going to return their sum. Next, we're passing a as value 3 here, and b as value 2. So we're going to check this condition. If a equals b, and we know that a is different than b, so this condition is not satisfied, and we go to the else condition. That's why we're going to return the sum. Then we are passing the last example, 2 and 2. So a is equals 2 and b is equals 2. So here, if a equals b, and here they are, so this condition is satisfied, and we enter in line 11. And what are we going to return? The double of their sum, right? So, great job for us. We did one more. Oops, sorry. Let me paste here. Here, and go. So, all correct. Great job for us. Let's go to the next one. So, let me make this right. Given an int n, return the absolute difference between n and 21, except return double the absolute difference if n is over 21. So, what's the problem here? We're going to return the absolute difference. Absolute, it's like, it doesn't matter if the difference is going to return a positive or a negative value, but we just want to pass the value. We don't want to see if it's positive or negative. For example, if we do a difference of 5 minus 3, what do we have? 2, right? 5 minus 3. But if we have 3 minus 5, what would we have? Minus 2, right? That's the thing that the problem doesn't matter, doesn't want to know. It doesn't want to know if it's positive or negative. The absolute value will just grab the value, not the sign here, okay? And we have a function, we're going to see this later. But the idea is we're going to return the difference between n, that is going to be an input, and 21, okay? But what we're going to return is going to be difference depending on what's the number of n. So if n is over 21, we're going to return one thing, and the else case we're going to return another thing. So this is where we're going to start our problem, okay? So diff 21 n. So we're first gonna check if n here that we're passing is over 21 or not, okay? So if n greater than 21, one thing is going to happen, and we have the else case here. So now we're going to check what's going to happen if n is over 21. So return double the absolute difference if n is over 21. So we're going to return double the difference. So return 2 multiplied by n minus 21, okay? And the else case, we're just gonna return the difference between n and 21. So return n minus 21. But you remember that I said just a couple of seconds ago about the absolute value. So we're going to get this absolute difference, okay? And in here, we're going to use the absolute Python function, and we're going to understand how this works. So here, W3 school again, okay? So let's check how to use the absolute value. So for example, if you want to get an absolute value of minus 7.25, what is going to be? It's going to be just the number 7.25. It's going to take out the negative before, okay? So it doesn't matter the sign of the number, but we want to grab the number, okay? And we see here that it's a function, ABS function, so that's what we're going to have, okay? So we're going to pass in here, instead of n minus 21, we're going to grab the absolute difference, right? So we're going to pass here the function abs, okay? So let's check, print diff 2119. Let me grab, let's do 3 examples, okay, to check a lot of cases here, 10 and 21. It's always important to check if the code is running okay. So debug problem 4. Even I am having a little bit of experience, sometimes I make some mistakes because I forgot to use something or syntax, so it's always good to check, okay? So we're passing here function as n value 19. So here we're going to do the first check. So if n greater than 21, and since we have n equals 19, so 19 is less than 21, so this condition is not satisfied. We go to the else and we're going to return the absolute difference between n and 21. And what do we have? 2. Okay, it's equals to the example here. Next problem, we're passing n equals 10, but 10 it's not greater than 21. So if this condition here it's not satisfied, and we go to the else, and here we're going to return again the absolute difference. And now we're passing n equals 21, and we're gonna check if 21 is greater than 21, and it's not actually 21, it's equal to 21. So this if condition is not satisfied, and we go to the next, to the else, and we're going to return 0. Let me put just one more example to check when it's greater than 21. So for example here 22. Let's check what happened. So if we have here n equals 22, we're passing 22 to the value of n, and we're going to check. So 22 is greater than 21? Yes, so we're going to enter in this condition, and in here we're going to return the double of the absolute difference, okay? So let's pass this to CodingBat. So here, and go. So everything correct. Great job for us. Let's go to the next one. So here, let me make this right. So we have a loud talking parrot. The hour parameter is the current hour time in the range 0 up to 33. We are in trouble if the parrot is talking and the hour is before 7 or after 20. Return true if we are in trouble. So here it's the same idea as the monkey trouble, right? We are in trouble if some condition happened, and the else case we're going to return false, okay? So what's the case where we are in trouble? It's when the parrot is talking and the hour is before 7 or after 20. And in here, in the function, if we take a look, let me just define the way that CodingBat defines. So talking and hour. So the way that CodingBat passes, it's like they are going to pass if the parrot is talking, so it's going to be talking true if the parrot is talking, and else and false if it's not talking. And then it's going to pass an hour for us, so we're going to know if the hour is before or after 20. So these are the two conditions that we have to take. So talking is true and the hour is before 7 or after 20. One thing that is really nice for Python is that if we take a look on our code, it will be basically English. It's very similar to English, okay? So for example, we're going to see this condition here. If is talking equals true and hour is less than 7 or greater than 20, okay? So let's see. So if talking equals true, right? Because the parrot has to be talking for us to be in trouble. And we have here the condition hour before 7, so hour less than 7, or hour after 20, so hour after 20, it's hour greater than 20. Okay, so this condition we are in trouble, so return true, and the else we're going to return false. Okay, let me grab some example here. So print parrot, we're going to do 3 conditions here. Print, I know you can pass this part while I am copy and pasting the example. Okay, you can go 5 seconds ahead or not, or you can join me in this lonely conversation. So let's put a breakpoint on line 12, and we're going to do here debug 50 problem 5. So what is going to happen? In the first case, we're passing talking equals true, right? We have here talking equals true and hour equals 6. So we're going to see this condition. So if talking equals true, so remember, and what and means? That this condition here and this condition inside the parentheses has to be true, and only if these both conditions here are true, we're going to enter in the else case that we're going to return true. And the or operator is what? Or this condition has to be satisfied, or that to be satisfied. Okay, so here we're mixing and or. So the idea is or hour is going to be before 7, or hour is going to be before 20, but only this here, it's not going to return true, because we have to have here the and the end is saying what? We have to have this period of time, and the parrot has to be talking. If it's not talking, it doesn't matter the hour, but he has to be talking, and it has to be on this difference of hour here. Okay, so the first case we have what? So talking equals true, it's true. So and hour is what? 6, and 6 is before 7, so this condition is satisfied. So here we're going to return true. Next, we're having talking equals true and hour equals 7. So talking equals true, this part of the condition, it's right. But here hour is 7, so hour, it's not before 7, so this condition is not satisfied. That's why we go to the else. Okay, and we're going to return false. Next case, we have talking equals false. So this condition already, it's not satisfied because it should be equals true. So we go to false, to else case. Okay, let's come here. Go. Yeah, problem with the format that I passed. So sorry. Let me check here. Go. And all good. Okay, next problem, problem 6. We have the makes 10. So given two ints, a and b, return true if one of them, I guess, yes, I don't know, is 10, or if their sum is 10. Oops, okay. So given two ints, a and b, return true if one of them is 10, or if their sum is 10. So I'm going to change here, if one of them. So the idea is what? We're going to check the ints a and b, and we're going to see if a is equals true, or if b is equals true, or their sum is equals 10. I'm sorry, I'm confusing in English, but I'm going to say it right now. So what's the problem here? Return true if one of them is 10, or if their sum is 10. So what we're going to do, we're going to receive a and b values, okay? And we're gonna check if a is equals 10, or if b is equals 10, or if their sum, a plus b, is equals 10, okay? So this is the conditions that we're going to check. So makes 10, and we're gonna pass two numbers as input, and that's what we're going to check. So if a equals 10, or b equals 10, or a plus b equals 10? Because this is the idea here, yeah, right? So one of them is 10 or their sum is 10. We'll just write it down here. Okay, we're going to return true. Else, we're going to return false. Okay, so let's print here, makes 10, 9, 10, and let me do 3 examples here. Oops, I create something that I didn't. I should not. So 9, and here 1. So let's check what happens, okay? Let's put a breakpoint in here and debug 50, problem 6. We are on the middle of CodingBat. We can finish this. So in the first case, we're passing the input A as 9 and the variable B as 10. And here we're going to check. So if A equals 10, so A equals 9, so it's not equal to 10. But here we're using the OR operator. So if this condition is not satisfied, it's okay. Next condition, B is equal to 10. Yes, so because here we have value 10 in B. So here we're going to return true. Okay. Next problem. So A is equals to 9 and B is equals to 9. So here, if A equals 10, so A is equal to 9 is different than 10, so this condition is not satisfied. B is equal to 10? No, because it's equal to 9, so this condition is not satisfied. And the last case, so A plus B is equal to 10. No, it's equal to 18, right? 9 plus 9, it's 18, so it's not equal to 10. So this if condition here is not satisfied and it's going to return false. And the last problem, it is what? We have A equals 9 and B equals 1, and we're gonna check. So A is equal to 10? No, because it's equal to 9. B is equal to 10? No, because it's equal to 1. And here, A plus B is equal to 10? Yes, because 9 plus 1 is 10, so it's going to return true. Okay, one more go. Go, and all correct. Perfect, guys. Let's keep going. So next problem here, we have what? Given an int n, return true if it is within 10 of 100 or 200. Notes. Abs_num computes the absolute value of a number. We already know the absolute value, right? So what we're going to do? So we're going to receive an int, and we're going to return true if. We're going to return true if is within 10 of 100 or 200. So what are we going to do? We're going to do a difference between the number that we're going to receive and the number 100, and we're going to check if the difference is between 10. And then we're going to check the other condition is the OR condition here. It's to grab the n number, and we're going to make a difference with 200 and check if the absolute value is 10. So it's two conditions here, okay? So we're going to check if it's near 200 or 100. So here we're going to do the definition near 100. I know sometimes the question is a little bit confusing, and it's okay. That's why I am here to help. So def near 100. So if, what are the conditions? So the condition is what? We're going to make a difference between, this is the idea, we're going to make a difference between, for example, n equals 99. So what we're going to do is to grab 99, 100, we're going to make a difference between 100 and n, and will be what? 100 minus 99, that it's equal to 1. And the value here, the difference, we're going to check if it is within 10. So this case would be true, right? But if we have here, for example, 89, here we would be 11 as the result of the difference. So this wouldn't be true, okay? And the same idea with 200. So if we have here 199 and 199, and we're going to check with 200, what would be the value here? 1. And 1 is within 10? Yes, so it would be okay. But if we have 189, what would be the difference here? 11, and 11 is out of range, so this wouldn't be true. Okay, so that's what we're going to do basically. So if we're going to just do what I already explained to you. So if absolute value n minus 100 is within 10, or the absolute value of n minus 200 it's within 10, what we're going to do, we're going to return true, and the else we're going to return false. Okay, so let's print some examples here. So this one, let's print another one, 100, and let's print another one. Okay, so let's check what we have. Let's put a breakpoint, debug 50, problem 7, and let's see what's happening. So what do we have in here? In the first case, we're passing 93 as value of n, and here we're going to check. So if the absolute value of this difference, so 93 minus 100, what's this value here? 7, right? So the difference between 93 and 100 is 7. So 7 is less than or equals to 10. Yes, so this condition is satisfied, and we're going to return true. Okay? Next case, we have 193. So here we're going to do again. So this difference here, the absolute value of this difference, 193 minus 100 is less than or equals to 10. No. What's the value of this difference here? It's 93, right? So we're going to check the next condition. Or what is the difference, the absolute difference of 193 minus 200? It's 7, and 7 is less than or equals to 10. Yes, so it's going to return true. Okay, and then the last case here, we have what? We have 150, okay, 150, and let's do the absolute difference. So 150 minus 100, it's what? 50. 50 is less than or equals to 10. No, it's greater, right? So this condition is not satisfied. And let's check the next condition. So the absolute value of 150 minus 200, it's what? It's 50 again. And 50, it's less than or equals to 10. No, so this condition is not satisfied. And we go to the else and return false. Okay? Control C, Control V. I highly recommend you to do on CS50 IDE to understand what you're doing, and then you pass to the CodingBat, okay? Next problem, so we have here, given two int values, return true if one is negative and one is positive, except the parameter negative is true. When return true only if both are negative. So what do we have here? It's something different. Here in this case, we have, actually we have 3 cases, right? What are the cases? So we have the 3 cases, no, we have some cases to think about. So the first case that return true is what? When one is negative and the other is positive, and the parameter negative is false, okay? So we can see here in this example, when one is positive, one is negative, and the parameter is negative is false, okay? And we have another case that when the parameter negative is true, then we'll return true only if both are negative. So that's the case here. If the parameter is negative is true, so both of them has to be negative. So we have these two conditions, okay? So what are we going to do? Let's first define our function pos neg, and we have a, b, and negative. Okay, we have these three inputs to our function. And what are we going to do? We're going to check what? First, we're going to check if negative equals to true. So if negative equals to true, what do we have to have? So if negative is equals to true, what's the only case that we're going to return true? Only if both are negative. So if a is less than 0 and b is less than 0, we're going to return true. And the else case of, if we're thinking here that is negative is equals true, it's only to return true if both of them are negative. So the else case, it's going to return what? Return false. This is an inner if and else. Now we're going to the outer if and else. So if negative equals true, we're going to have this. But if negative is equals false, so it's the else case. And if negative is equals false, we're going to return true if one is negative and the other one is positive. So we're going to do this. So if a less than 0 and b is greater than 0, we're going to return true. But we have another condition, if a is greater than 0 and b is less than 0, because we can have this condition here. We're going to return true again. And the else, we're going to return false. So what's happening here? If we have a, for example, if we have a equals -1 and b equals 1, this condition is satisfied, right? If we have here, for example, a greater than 0, a equals 1, and b equals, here it's negative -1, it's okay also, it's going to return true. And the else case is when both of them have the same sign, okay? And then we're going to reprint, and we're going to check these conditions here. I know it seems confusing, but you will see that it's not so much. It's actually interesting, okay? Because he puts a lot of conditions inside, and it's good for us to start practicing this idea of thinking in conditions, okay? So let's put a breakpoint here and debug 50 problem 8. Let's check. So in the first case, we're passing a equals 1, right? A equals 1, b equals -1, and negative is false. So first we're going to check if negative equals true. Negative is equals true? No, so we're going to this else case here, right? Now we're going to check if a is less than 0, so a actually is greater than 0, so this condition is not satisfied. Here, a is greater than 0, yes, and b is less than 0, yes. And so we're going to return true, okay? Next problem, we have a equals -1, b equals 1, and negative equals false. So here, first condition, if negative equals true, so it's false, then we're not going to enter in this if condition here. We're going to the else. Now we're going to check. A is less than 0. A is less than 0. Yes, it's -1, so the first condition is okay. And now let's check B. B is greater than 0. Yes, it's 1, so this condition is satisfied and we return true. Next case, we have -4, -5, and true. So we're going to check if negative equals true, so it's true. Yes, so we're going to enter in this if condition here, okay? Now we're going to check A is less than 0. Yes, it's -4. And B is less than 0. Yes, it's -5, so it's going to return true, okay? And the else cases are going to return false. So let's copy here and let's paste here. let me paste. Just 1 second. You can drink some water while I do this. Take it easy. And let's check. So all correct. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so given a string, return a new string where not has been added to the front. However, if the string already begins with not, return the string unchanged. So what are we going to do? We have to check if the string starts with not. So if the first 3 chars start with not, so for example here, the first 3 chars, it's not. So if this happens, we're going to return the string unchanged. So for example, here we pass the string not bad and we have an output not bad, nothing changed. But if we don't have this the first 3 chars equals to not, we have to add this to the front. So for example, here we have X and we have here not X. Here we have candy and we have here not candy. So that's the idea of the problem. So first things first, right? So one thing that we have to have, it's what? The length of the string has to be greater than 3, right? Because if we have, for example, an example like this, string not, just not, what it would return? Just not, right? Because we have this front not in the string. So first we have to check if the length of the string is greater than 3, is greater than or equals to 3, okay? Because this is the only way how the word not will be inside the string, because not has 3 letters, okay? And we also have to check if the first 3 chars it's equals to not. And how are we going to do this? We're going to use the string slice. Okay, so you can return a range of characters by using the slice syntax. Specify the start index and the end index separated by a colon to return a part of the string. So what are we going to do? For example, if we want to grab the first 3 letters of this string, we're gonna put here the start, and by default the start is 0, okay? And up to which letter you want to grab. So, but remember this number here is not included. So we want to grab up to the position 3. So we're grabbing position 0, 1, 2, and in position 3 we're going to stop. It's where we want to stop our problem. So that's why here we're just appearing this hell here, and it's not hell as a bad word, okay? So that's what we're going to do. So str, and we're going to do a string slice here and check if this string slice is equal to not, okay? If this condition is satisfied, we're going to return the string unchanged. So return str, okay? And what's the else case? We're going to return the not, right? Plus str. That's the problem here. We have to add to the front, okay? So now let's put 2 examples here. Print. So not candy and not bad. Put a breakpoint in here and let's do debug 50, problem 9. So in the first case, we have the string as candy. So candy has length greater than 3. Yes, has length 5. So this first condition is satisfied, but let's check the second. When we do a string slice here and we grab the first 3 letters, we have not. No, we have a can. So can is different to not. So this condition is not satisfied, and we go to the else condition. And in the else, we're going to return not plus the string. Then we have here not candy. Next example, we have the string not bad. So let's check. The length of the string is greater than 3. Yes, here we have length 7, right? And here, when we grab the first 3 chars of the string, what do we have? We have not. So not equals to not. Yes. So this if condition is satisfied, and we're going to return just the string. Okay? Let's check here. go. And all correct. Perfect. Let's go to the next one. We're almost done, guys. Don't give up. Let's see. So we have here, given a non-empty string and an int n, return a new string where the char at index n has been removed. Value of n will be a valid index of a char in the original string. So n will be in the range of 0 and length str-1 inclusive. So what do we have here? We have the missing char problem when the problem passes an original string, and here we're gonna have a number that is going to be the position where we're going to take out this letter. So for example, position 1, we're going to grab I here, that's why we have KTTEN. And here we're grabbing the position 0, that's why we're going to grab this K, and here we have item. And here we're grabbing the letter in position 4, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here, when we pass, we don't have the E in this char, in this string here. So that's the problem that we're going to do, okay? So missing char. We're gonna pass in string and an input N. So what are we going to do? We're going to grab what? We're going to use the string slice again, but in this case, we're going to do a string slice up to the position that we wanna take out the char, okay? So remember, since the end position, it's not included, okay? It's not included, the position of the end, we're going to use here what? So the front part of the string will be what? str. We're going to grab up to the position n, okay? So for example, here we have number 1, so in this case we would grab up to the position 1, so the front will be just k, right? In the next, we're going to get the back part of the string, and what we're going to grab, so we're gonna grab the next letter F, the position that we grab up to the end, okay? So that's the problem, and we're going to return what? The front plus the back, that will be our new string, okay? So print. Let's check actually just one condition, because I think it's okay. So put here a breakpoint, here debug 5010, and let's check what's happening. Problem 10. So here we have here this string, it's kitten, and the number it's 1. So what's going to happen in the front part? We're gonna grab the, using string slice, okay, don't forget, we're gonna grab the string since the beginning up to position 1 here. So remember that the 1 is not included, so we're gonna grab what? Just the position 0. So here we're just gonna have K, so our front is just K. The back, what we're gonna have? We're gonna grab the letter in the position 2 up to the end. So here we're gonna grab TTEN, so our back will be TTEN, and in the return we're going to add the string front to the string back, and we're gonna have what we want, KTTEN, okay? That's the result. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, paste it here, and go. All correct. Okay, let's go to the next one. So given a string, return a new string where the first and last chars have been exchanged. So we want to make an exchange of the first and the last char, right? So for example, here we have code, and here we have EODC. A, we have no changes, and AB, we have BA. So we're just gonna make a change on the first and the last chars. So let's define our example, front, back, and we have an str. And what are we going to do? First, we have to check if the array is greater than 1, right? Why? Because, for example, here, our string has length 1. Then we're just going to return the string. We're not going to return any difference. But since here we have a length equals true, we already have a difference here. So this is the first condition. So if length str is less than or equals to 1, what do we have? We're just going to return the string because it makes no difference in this case, okay? And the else, what are we going to do? So here we're going to create a string where we're gonna grab the mid part of the string, okay? Because the mid part, it's not going to change. So we're going to use the str, the string slicing, okay? So mid of the string will be what? Will be the string up to the second position, up to the position before the last one. So it's position 1 up to length str minus 1. If we use here length str, it's the last char on the string. So length, what's the position length str in the front back? It's E. But what's the position length str minus 1? It's D. It's the char before the last, okay? So we're going to grab the mid part of the string, and in the return, what are we going to do? So we have the first char, and what's the first char? Our first char is str in position 0, and last char is what? Is the str in the position length of str. So what are we going to return? We're going to return the first char in the position of the last char, and so on and so forth. So here we're going to start. So for example, we're going to return a new string where the first and last char have been exchanged. So here we have last char plus mid plus first char, okay? So let's print one example to check. I know it seems a little bit confusing, but it's basically manipulating strings. It's really nice. We're going to see a lot of more in strings 1 and 2, so it's good for us to lose this. Don't be afraid when we do the string part, okay? So here we have, let's see the debug 50. We're passing code as the string, as an input. And now we're going to check the first condition. So the length of code is 4. So 4 is greater than 1, so this condition is not satisfied. We go to the else. And in mid here, what are we going to grab? We're going to grab the letters in position 1 up to position 3. So we're going to grab the letters in position 1 and 2, right? Because 3 is not included. So here we have mid equals OD. We're grabbing the middle of the string. The first char, we're going to grab the first char of the string. That's why we're using str index 0. So we have C. And the last char will be the last char of the string. That's why we use length 4. So str4, we're gonna grab, str minus 1, sorry. I made a mistake. It's out of range. Okay, I made a mistake. I'm going to let this on the video because I think it's important. Why we can't make here up to length 4? Because remember, we start counting things by convention from 0, right? So we have position 0, 1, 2, and 3. If I put here length 4 and length of the str is 4, we don't have a position 4 here. We have up to the position 3. That's why here we have to use minus 1. Okay, so let's do again. Let's check. So we have here, our length is 4, so 4 is greater than 1, so this condition is not satisfied. The mid we already know, the first char we already know, and the last char we're going to grab the char on the position 3 because the length is 4 minus 1, 3. And what is the position 3? It's 0, 1, 2, and 3. It's this E here, okay? So we have last char E, and we're going to return the exchange of the last and the first char. That's why we made this way here. And we have EODCE, okay? Let's put this and let's go to the last problem. Go. All correct. Next one, and let's see. So we have here what? Given a string, we'll say that the front is the first 3 chars of the string, right? So we will say that the front is the first 3 chars of the string. If the string length is less than 3, the front is whatever is there. Return a new copy, which is 3 copies of the front. So what's the problem here? We're going to return just the 3 letters, the first 3 chars of the string. Or if the string length is less than 3, whatever is there, okay? So we're going to start on this whatever is there. So first we're gonna check def front 3, and we're going to pass an str, right? So first we're gonna check what's the length of the string. So if length, just a second. So here we're going to do what? We're going to initialize a variable, okay, to be called as front3, that it's going to grab the first 3 chars of the string. So we're going to call front and equals 3. And now we're going to check if the string length is less than 3, because if it is, we have to change this front end for whatever the length of the string is there, okay? So that's why we're going to do if length of str is less than 3, front end will be what? Will be the length of the str, because we cannot invent a letter. If the string is less than 3, we have to put, for example, if the string was AB, what we would have here? Just AB, 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 okay? That's the idea. So we're setting this in here. We're setting the here front and the length str. And what it's going to be our front. So our front will be what? The problem wants what? Return a new string, which is 3 copies of the front. And what's the front? The front is the first 3 chars of the string. So here we're going to use again this example of string slice, okay? So we're going to do front, that it's our string. It's what? It's str from the beginning up to 3. But we're not going to use 3 here. Why? Because we have this condition that we're going to grab everything, that whatever is there if the length is less than 3. That's why we created the front end variable, okay? So we're going to grab the front of the string, and we're going to return what? Front plus front plus front, okay? Because we want to return a new string which is 3 copies of the front, and we have here 3 copies. So print front 3. The example is Java. And let's check. Put a breakpoint here. Debug 50, problem 12. And what do we have? So we have the str is Java, right? And here we're going to create the variable front end equals 3. Now we're gonna check what's the length of Java. It's 4, right? So 4 is less than 3. No, so this if condition is not satisfied, and we go to the line 15. Here we're gonna grab the first 3 chars of our Java string. So we're gonna grab the index 0, 1, and 2. Remember the 3rd position that it's the number that appears in here, it's not included from the documentation, okay? So here we're gonna grab front will be what? Will be JAV, and here we're gonna return 3 times of this front, and we have here Jav, Jav, Jav. Okay? Now let's copy, paste to CodingBat Python, and check if it's working. Go, and all correct. So I hope you enjoyed this content and see you in the next video. Bye bye.